This has nothing to do with anything I've ever uploaded on this channel before, but I just had this vision that I feel like I need to share. Some people might not even know what I'm talking about if they have absolutely no knowledge of these topics. But straight to the point. This is the reason why we don't have any documentation of ancient civilizations from the past. I have no notes in front of me, it's just me, the camera and the light. I'm not reading anything, I'm just talking out of my head right now. So I'll start with just ancient civilizations. We have so much proof, so much evidence all around the world of there having been people who were advanced technological wise that lived in a global connected world way before us. We have the pyramids in Egypt, we have Machu Picchu in Peru and other sites across Central and South America. We have pyramids in China, in India, in Bangladesh, in Vietnam and in Thailand and underwater too. And a lot of things have happened ever since these people left. They have died obviously. But we can't explain it and there's no documentation during this whole period of time. Based on all the knowledge that we have on our physical abilities and the way physics works, we can tell that the Egyptians did not build the pyramids, the Mayas, the Aztecs, the Incas did not build their ancient sites, including Machu Picchu, and the people from the Easter Islands didn't build their giant Easter heads. Stonehenge is a little different, it's arguable, but that's not what this video is about. So how did they build it? How did the previous civilizations build it? And why are there so many connections to it? Like why are things so similar? Built in the same manner, built with the same symbols. Like the only things that have stayed behind are the monuments made of stone basically. Nothing else. There is no documentation, there's no books, there's no computers. Where was the information stored for it to be lost like this forever? And this might not have been documented by someone in this way as a YouTube video. Maybe someone has thought of this before, but I felt like I'll just do it myself now. We're in the year 2024 right now, and this might be the first year for cryptocurrencies to get into the mainstream. But you might ask, what do cryptocurrencies have to do with this? Well, cryptocurrencies themselves, nothing really, but the concept of decentralization. So in the past, for the last 11, 12 years, cryptocurrencies were like a means of investment, somehow that people can make money from. You put money in there, it goes up in value, you sell it for US dollars, for euros, and then you use that. But cryptocurrencies are supposed to be a store of value against inflation, as well as have utility. Now we have Bitcoin, Ethereum, we have XRP, Ripple, we have Solana. Solana is very trendy right now because of all of the meme coins, shit coins, whatever you want to call them, whatever you want to call them. Because it's a cheap currency, people can easily access it, and trading is very fast. Unlike Bitcoin, Bitcoin is slow and expensive, and so is Ethereum. And it's very expensive to store information on these chains. Solana is fairly cheap compared to those, but still very expensive. And there's one which is emerging, or which will be emerging very soon. I'm recording this now in May. It already exists, it's called DeSo, it's called Decentralized Social, which is a blockchain made to store data. And the purpose of this blockchain in specific is to basically decentralize social media, just like it's in the name. And this brought me to where my whole point is going, which is these ancient civilizations in the past, they had a way. It might not have been via a blockchain because they probably skipped the computer age altogether, but they had a way to store information decentralized, accessible, publicly accessible to everyone. And everyone was documenting everything that was happening on this medium. And at some point, it got lost. How that could happen, I'll come to that in a moment. But how are we going to follow these same footsteps? So let's say decentralized social, it's a ticker DESO. It takes over the future of humankind. We put all our social media on the blockchain, everything is decentralized and publicly accessible. What's going to happen is that not only are people going to use the data on on the blockchain to create new applications and new use cases, but everyone will start like uploading on the blockchain because it's pretty much free and you can access it and then embed your own personal information or whatever you want to use into your own websites or apps or platforms with the source tracing back to where it was initially posted. So once this is established and once this is happening, there will be jobs emerging of people whose duty it is to find verified information of the past and then basically pin it on existing profiles in current times. Looking at politics, let's say Trump has said this and this and this in the past. Someone has a video recording of this or verified document, and we can attribute this text, this video to the Donald Trump account. And anything that comes up in the future in terms of artificially generated that does not have its source tracing back to something originally posted on the blockchain and pinned to this specific profile is basically useless because it's not verified. So people will be scouring in the past, will be scouring for information in the past that is verified and put it on top of a profile. Eventually, someone will make some sort of system to do the same thing for dead people. The history that we have right now is written by the winners of whatever wars we had. And the information that we have recorded in books, for example, might not be accurate at this moment, but we will still do the same thing. We will have a social identity for, let's say, Adolf Hitler. And things that we have recorded in books or in person to person, eventually written down, will be basically put towards his profile, and eventually it's gonna basically document the whole history of everything that we know at this moment. But from this moment going on forward, history will not be documented in past tense anymore. It's going to be written and written forever. No one can change it anymore in real time. Anything that is going forward, coming from me, for example, I will be the one who has put it online, on the blockchain. Anything that someone else has posted needs to be a segment or interpretation tracing back to what I said, what I posted online, or what people have recorded of me doing that I have verified. Someone can create a video of me artificially generated just talking like this with literally this video and this voice. People can make AI clips. But as long as I didn't verify this via, for example, reposting it or posting it myself, this information is going to be useless for the future because I am the only one who can authenticate something I have said. So going forward, the only information which will have value is the one which is authenticated by the original poster. So going forward, history will be built on top of the past, but the past is factually correct because only the people who have actually said these things are the ones writing history. Any content made by someone else which has not been verified by this person is just information floating around in nowhere and basically useless. And that's a problem right now in the age of our Web 2 internet, that there's just too much information. There's too many things out there which don't have any value because we don't know if they're true. So in the future, information will only have value if the person who has said these things, talked about these things, done these things, has authenticated it, or it is authenticated by someone. So we will have a complete record of everything that someone has done and that the world has done, that every person in the world has done on the blockchain. And there will be no reason for us to store it anywhere else. Maybe as a form of paper, but paper doesn't last very long in the age of times. So everything will be stored on the blockchain because it's simple, it's accessible, and it's cheap. And the only way that this information disappears is if everything breaks apart. Decentralized means that there's multiple, let's call them nodes around the world, here in Miami, in New York, in London, in Munich, in Prague, in Hong Kong, in Darwin, Australia, wherever. There's multiple places around the world which are active and they all have the same information. If one place is out, the other parts will take a step in and basically do their share. And everything will always be online, everything will always be updated, even if there's a power outage right here. That's the beauty of cryptocurrencies, because no one can control them. And that's hopefully the future where we're heading to. A decentralized currency, as well as a decentralized social media, and a decentralized medium to store information, to educate the future. So how can something happen? How can something happen that severe that everything falls apart? In Germany, we have a saying that goes, "Wenn der Himmel fällt, sind alle Spatzen tot." And that translates into, when the sky falls down, all sparrows are dead. Which perfectly makes sense. If hell breaks loose, everything falls apart, then no matter where you are, what you are, you're part of it. And that is exactly what happened. The ancient civilizations, they were afraid of the sky. Why? Because they couldn't influence it. They couldn't influence the sun. They couldn't influence a meteor shower. They couldn't influence a giant planet or whatever, a planet-sized meteor smashing into the ground and destroying everything. It was out of their control. That's why there's so much focus in past civilizations in specific locations and constellations to observe what the sky is doing, because that was the deciding factor if people were going to live the next day or not live the next day. It was at the mercy of the universe. Right now, 3 days ago, we had the largest solar storms in over 50 years, or so are we told. Maybe it's someone manipulating the weather, but we had solar storms, and here in Miami especially, it was very hot too. I could feel that it was warmer than it's supposed to be, because we had increased solar activity. And we had polar lights all over the world, from the places where we usually have them, like Finland, Greenland, Canada, all the way down to Jacksonville here in Florida, or my parents' hometown in South Germany. That's not usual, but that happens because of the sun. So what if we had even stronger increased activity of the sun, or a meteor shower, or something else happened that we can't even grasp at this moment? And these radiation waves, or the ions, the particles which come down onto Earth with a tremendous amount of energy, destroy the whole power grid. The world's power grid, every system, every technological system like computers, and everything basically gets useless. And now add basically the death of 90% of the population to it because of lasting effects like no more food sources or no more transportation, and basically the whole human society falls apart. And if this lasts long enough, for example, a giant meteor falling, which happened approximately 12 to 18,000 years ago, and we had a global ice age from one day to the next with nature catastrophes all over the world going on for years at a time, suddenly human civilization is set back to the Stone Age, which is basically the beginning of our time, and all the information that all of these people had stored over years, decades, maybe even centuries, is lost forever.